everybody, welcome or welcome back to the channel. My name's Nicole and this is Dusty Book Sniffers, and today I'm going to be talking about organised chaos. So let's get started. Good morning or good evening, everybody, and welcome back. Thank you so much for taking some time out of your day and spending it with me while I prattle on, as you heard in the intro, about some organised chaos. All right, so the book that I am talking about today, let me just bring my notes up. We are talking about organised chaos. All right, so that is a very weird title, but it has a tagline, turbocharge your superpowers. This one is a book that is probably going to hit home for some people that may be struggling with the chaoticness that is their life, and I'm referring to people with ADHD. Now, my daughter has ADHD and so does my partner, and so I thought this would be a great little NetGalley book to read. It's already out. It came out on the 1st of October, so you can go and check that out. I'll leave a link up down below where you can go and check it out. And so, yeah, so this is by Nick Lennon-Barrett, I think is the name of the author. Let me just double check that because, you know, hey, I often sometimes get these things wrong. It's by Nick Lennon-Barrett, and Nick is in his 40s and was recently diagnosed in 2020 with ADHD, and that's sort of his backstory. So this one, I have the ebook for this. So if you've got someone that you love that has ADHD or diagnosed with just recently or undiagnosed, this book might change some things for you and how you look at their world as well as the world around you, especially if you are someone that has ADHD. So for me, I grabbed this book because of my daughter and my partner, and a lot of my friends also have ADHD as well. So it'll be a good way for me to, you know, maybe make suggestions if they're struggling with certain things, definitely for them to read the book. All right, so grab yourself a cuppa, get yourself nicer and comfy. We're going to get into the nitty gritties of this book called Organised Chaos, turbocharge your superpowers. I've always said that people with ADHD have superpowers that I do not have, and so we're going to get into the nitty gritty of this book. Organised Chaos isn't just another ADHD book either. It's almost a lifeline, a prep talk, and a toolkit for someone who has it, and it's all in one. So it is a great book for anybody that might be struggling with, you know, focus and all that sort of stuff. And as I said, I am going to get into the nitty gritties. All right, so Nick Lennon, as I said earlier, Barrett was kicked out of home at 16 for being too much, and fast forward 25 years later, he finally gets diagnosed with ADHD, and then he realizes that that's what's caused a lot of his problems throughout his life. You know, he sort of on reflection understood why that happened, why he got kicked out, why he was too much, and that. But you know, hey, they say hindsight is 2020, right? So he realizes that he did cause a lot of problems back there, and so this is where this book has come into play. And so he has, this has also helped him in a way to build a successful career as a learning leader in the FTSE 100. Now, I've got this written down because this is very important. Companies, and so he now trains a lot of people how to deal with things, and it also helps him now to understand himself better with all the things that have gone on in his life and also around work as well. So the book is sort of part memoir, part toolkit, if that makes sense. So be aware that is, or, you know, playbook, whatever you want to call it, but toolkit. It's raw, it's funny, but most importantly, it is very real and it's from the heart. You feel like you're sitting across from Nick and he's telling you all the truths about, not just about ADHD, but how to live with it as well and live well with it. So he sort of reframes ADHD as well, and to making you think that this is a superpower. You have these tools, you just have to learn how to use them correctly. And correctly is probably the wrong term that I'm using here. It is definitely a toolkit, and it does give you ideas of how to navigate the world around you and how to get focused on different things and everything like that. So let me just get a little bit further on into the book. So what I love most about the book, that Organised Chaos doesn't just talk about ADHD like it's a flaw. He reimagines ADHD as a superpower, a set of superpowers. And he's not just throwing around buzzwords either. He breaks it down into 6 executive functions of the brain, things like focus, time management, and impulse control. And if you know anybody with ADHD, you know that their impulse control can be quite debilitating at times. He also shows you how they can actually be turned into strengths, and with the right approach, that is quite easily done. And he goes through all of these things, and we'll get into more of the nitty-gritty of them. So some of these would border on spoiler, but it is a non-fiction book, so I feel like you can't really talk about the content without giving spoilers, but it is so much more than what I'm talking about today. So make sure that you take some notes and really write it down and get into this. So some of the things that he covers, as I just mentioned before, a focus beam, a vision crafter, time warp, mind vault, and mental morph, along with impulse shield. So these are not just names that he's giving things, but these are things that to help you navigate the world. And these are all things that end up being problems. So we've got, the mental side of things. You've got the impulse side of things. You've got your mind. You've got, time. The time warp is where you think that it's only going to take you 10 minutes, but in actual fact, you'll end up spending hours and hours on it, and all of that sort of stuff. So he covers all of this. And as I said, they're not just names that he is throwing out there to be catchy or anything like that. They're empowering. They're to help you shift your mindset that from I'm broken to I'm wired differently, and that's okay. And that's what he really focuses on in this. And the tools that actually will help you throughout this book as well. And you might have some aha moments, especially if you are struggling with some of these things. You will definitely have some aha moments. Even though I don't have ADHD, although I do get told that I have traits of it, and I think that's because I'm surrounded by people and I just inherently pick things up from them. But so this way he is taking a practical look at it and really helping you to get into the nitty-gritty of it and help you to focus. And as I said, he's trying to in a way reword everything so it becomes more positive as opposed to a negative. And if you've been around anybody, you can see how debilitating it can actually be at times, especially for those that choose not to medicate. My daughter is one of the, and my partner are also ones that don't medicate, but we often have conversations, and they have slowly but surely been turning their things into superpowers and really knuckling down and focusing, and like they can do things that I could only dream of. Their passion for things and everything like that. So enough about me. Let's get back into the book. This book also offers practical strategies, as I said, or as Nick calls them, cheat codes for daily life. And they're not the usual just make a to-do list stuff. These are neurodivergent friendly tools that will work with your brain and not against it. There are 3 that stood out to me, and they were the aha moments I was talking about earlier. The dope engine, I thought it was a quirky name, but it was, when it's explained, it is like, oh my God, that is such a good thing to do. So this is a method to activate your hyper focus and actually finish everything that you start, which I thought was really good. And my partner really struggles with this. The color codex was an ingenious system, in my opinion, using colored post-it notes to track your priority and your progress with your projects as well. And the element compass helps you to find your natural productivity rhythm, as in earth, fire, wind, and rain. Now I know that they sound very gimmicky and all the rest of it, but truly they're not. He breaks them down so well. They're systems to help your loved ones to get through, or yourself to get through being ordered, and literally putting order into the chaos. And that's what I really liked about it. So some of the things that really hit home for me on a personal note, as I said, I picked this book up because not just to help me, but it gave me the tools to support my daughter and or my partner, both who have ADHD. It's changed the way I see them as well, because as someone that doesn't have that neurodivergence, it's very easy for me to go, well, just do it. And I fall into that trap. And I do fall into that trap. And I do, even though I understand their limitations and everything, I still fall into their trap. So it sort of has helped me to see them in a different light as well. So, and I really like that when a book can do that. Even though I know these things about them, it's still, as I said, you fall into those sort of habits of just do it. Because, and you forget that the struggles that they have. And that's where this book has really hit home for me. And, it's also given me some ideas of how I can support them when I see them struggling, not by pushing them into something, but helping them to know their own brains and all that sort of stuff. So I'll be subtly giving them, little tidbits and all that sort of stuff. And I've already started recommending this book to some friends and everything that I know that are struggling with their loved ones and also themselves. So, their parenting, I found that it was very practical, that it had lots of information in it that I could use myself. I found it empowering. I found it honest. I found it very kind. It wasn't in a way that, you need to do X, Y, and Z. It was very gentle in its approach as well. And I know that might sound really sound weird and all that sort of stuff, but I felt like that is just a kind way to write a book about yourself. And that's why I say it's sort of part memoir, part toolkit. And you can tell that Nick has really written this from a place of wanting to help others, and that does come through in the text. And he wants them to stop fighting with themselves and start to thrive, and that really comes through as well. So I'm really glad that I picked this up. As I said, it's not just another book. This is actually coming from someone who has struggled with this for most of their life and got a late in life diagnosis. And there's been a lot of my friends of late that have got late in life diagnosis, especially around females. Females always seem to be left behind in this. So some of my final thoughts on this one is that it's very kind. It was heartfelt. If you're struggling with focus, if you're struggling with structure or consistency, or feeling like life is just too much, I highly recommend that you read this book. If you're trying to support someone with ADHD, or your partner has ADHD, you need to read this book, because it's going to give you maybe not all the answers, but it's definitely going to give you some tools to work with that may help your loved one have an easier go of it, especially around the chaos that their life can actually be. So yeah, Organised Chaos doesn't just promise perfection. It actually offers permission to be who you are and work with the brain that you have instead of against it. So whether you're neurodivergent or just a little bit chaotic, then this book really will give you the language and the strategies, and most importantly, the hope that you are requiring. So thank you for watching today. I really do appreciate you being here. Don't forget to give me a like and subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to ring that bell to all notifications, and then that way you're not going to miss out on anything that I post up, especially when I find little gems like this book that I've talked about today. So I can't promise that there'll be more content around ADHD, but anyway, this is definitely a practical book for you to use. If you've read it before, let me know and what your thoughts were. If you're thinking about reading it, also let me know in the comments down below. As I said, this is already out. It came out in October. And and if you don't feel chatty today, you can always just leave me a stack of books down below. And that way I know that you've made it this far. But as always, thank you so much for being here today. I really do appreciate you taking the time to listen to me prattle on about the books that I'm reading off NetGalley. It's been a lot of fun this last couple of weeks reading all these books. I've had a really good variety of them. So as I said, don't forget to subscribe and ring that bell, and then that way you're not going to miss out on anything that I put up. But as I said, that is it from me today. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Don't forget, keep turning those pages, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.